Hey everyone, Prof Sales, and I'm coming at you with another video about inventory systems. So I was recently asked to do a video on inventory systems, and I have done a video like this in the past. However, I started thinking about it and I realized that maybe it wasn't quite as clear as it could have been. So I decided to do another video, and this time do one with um, a video representation of what it looks like graphically, and maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so what you see here is a PowerPoint slide that I created just for this particular topic, and I'm going to ask you to kind of disregard the lines that you see, right here in between these, because they might throw you off a little bit. So sort of disregard those, and I'm going to go through what an inventory system should look like, I think, for specifically for eBay, but I suppose you could use it for an Amazon merchant fulfilled business as well, really anywhere that you need to store product. So first of all, let's look at the area tab. So think about your inventory in terms of where are you going to store it in your house, in your storage building, wherever it is that you want to store inventory. So let's say that your inventory area is your house, and you have a room in your house. Maybe it's a spare bedroom. That's what I do with jeans currently. So let's give that area a title, and we'll give it a title of Area A. So we will call it Area A, and that will be our first area. Now, obviously, if we have two areas, we could have an Area A and an Area B. You could do this with numbers as well. I like to start the areas with letters. I think it makes more sense to my mind. But if you had 10 areas, if you had 10 different rooms, or if you had 10 different sections of a warehouse, for instance, you could have A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. So you can always keep adding on new areas. But for the moment, let's talk about our spare bedroom in our house is going to be Area A. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have fixtures in that area. Now, fixtures could be different things. They could be bookcases if you were storing books. They could be black plastic shelves like I like to use in my particular business. They could be hanging racks. They could be a cubby system. Really, it's endless, but it doesn't really matter. Just think of a fixture as a storage area within your A. Not the air and just that, but an actual fixture of some sort. Bookcase, shelf, what have you, whatever it is. In my case, it's black shelves. So with the fixtures, I like to number these with numbers instead of letters. So I might have fixture number 1, we'll say, and fixture number 2, and those will both be in Area A. All right, so hopefully that makes sense so far. We've got 2 fixtures in Area A. Then let's talk about what encompasses a fixture. Now, in my case, I have black shelves, black plastic shelves that I use. I've shown them in a video before. You can get them at Lowe's or Home Depot, but any sort of shelving system works really well for this, or any sort of fixture that has sections. In my case, it happens to be shelves, but it could be, the sections could be something else. You could just call it a section on a particular fixture if it doesn't have a shelf per se, but most of the time you're talking about shelves or sections. So I'm going to have shelves on my fixture. So I start my shelves from the floor up. It doesn't really matter, but I think that's the easiest way, because in my case I could add on more shelves on top if need be. So I have shelves, shelf 1 is right at the bottom of the right on the floor, and then there's a shelf 2 above that, and a shelf 3, and a shelf 4, and so on, all the way up to as however high I need them to go. So we've got an Area A, fixture 1, and it's got shelves on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the last part of this is bins. Now, a bin could be a physical bin. It could be a plastic bin, for instance, or a cloth bin that you actually put on the shelves. So for instance, you may have a shelf that's got spots for 3 bins across it, we'll just say. So now you've got 3 storage spots on that shelf. The bin could, like I said, it could be an actual plastic bin or cloth or what have you, but it might just be a spot on the shelf. Again, this allows you to grow. If your shelving system gets bigger, you can just add more bins. You may start out with maybe bins 1 and 2, but now maybe you're storing smaller items on that shelf, so you can have bins 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't really matter, but the great thing about this allows you to grow. So let's go back and think about what a specific location in this inventory system would look like. We've got an area, area A. We've got a fixture, fixture 1. We've got a shelf, we'll say shelf 1, and we got a bin spot on that shelf, bin spot 1. So we've got 4 parts to our inventory tag. And the great thing about this system is in every case, in areas, fixtures, shelves, and bins, you can always add or subtract from those specific areas depending on your specific inventory needs. So let's look at what that looks like a little bit closer. So you're going to make up tags for each item you have, and it's going to have on that tag the item's location. We're going to have the area, the fixture, the shelf, and the bin. So basically you're going to have 4 different characters on here. For example, we could have something in area A, it's on fixture number 2, it's on shelf 4 of fixture number 2, and it's in bin spot 1. So your tag would read A241. Now, the good thing about this is you can just go sequentially down the alphabet or through numbers with your areas and fixtures. If you gain another area, now you'll have an area A and B. If you add another fixture, you'll have fixtures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many you need within a specific area. You can always change this around. The great thing about this is too, with this system, I like to put all this in an Excel spreadsheet, and I've already done that in a previous video, so I'm not going to go through it at the moment. But the cool thing about that is you can sort your spreadsheet by your areas and your inventory locations. So for instance, suppose you needed to see everything that's left in in area A, you can do that. You can sort your list and it'll sort it in order. So it'll show you everything with all the A's and the B's and C's, and then you can go through and see how many items you have there or exactly what you have there. This comes in super handy when the inevitable happens on eBay. And I'm going to tell you about a quick experience that happened to me the other day and how my inventory system saved me. Just the other day on eBay, I sold an item. It was actually a pair of jeans. And when I went to go find the item in my shelving system, my inventory system, I couldn't find it. And the item had an item number. I want to say the item number was 1776. And let's just say it was an A241, just to keep the example simple. So I go to location A241, and there's no jean there, 1776. So I've had this happen before, and there can be errors that creep in. I'm thinking, what did I do here? So I went down to eBay. I went down back to my computer, and I looked at my spreadsheet, and I saw that item number 1746 had not been sold yet, and it was a totally different item in my spreadsheet. And I'm going, what in the world? So I went back up, looked at that item, and sure enough, it was the correct item, just what I had in my spreadsheet. So I came back down to my computer once more, and I sorted. I looked at my spreadsheet once more and saw that what had happened was I had typed in eBay 1146 instead of 1746. For whatever reason, I'd hit a 1 instead of a 7, and the way I knew that was I sorted my inventory spreadsheet alphabetically by item title. And because I did that, I could see it was a pair of Levi's. I found the exact description of the ones that I had sold, and I looked over and I saw they were actually item number 1146 in a totally different location. And then I started thinking about it, and I realized, well, if they were 1146, probably when I typed it into eBay, I typed in a 7 instead of a 1. Basically, when you create an inventory system like this, you create several different fail-safes to keep you from losing an item. The worst feeling is when you sell something and then you can't find it. and you're going to have to tell a buyer that you cannot ship the item to them. This is obviously not an ideal situation, and it has happened to me once. Somehow I totally lost one. I don't know what happened. But every other time, and it's happened probably, I don't know, at least probably 8 or 10 times, it's just a case of fat fingers. You typed in the wrong number. But because if you create an inventory system like this with some specificity to it, you'll be able to go in and search for items 2 or 3 different ways. So knowing how your mind works and how your system is set up, you can usually figure out exactly what the mistake was and then find the item and, of course, make your customer happy, which is the point of an inventory system. An inventory system is to store things. The point of inventory is to store things and be able to find them when you need them, whether to sell them, to get rid of them, what have you. This system, I did not come up with my own. I found it online. I found an example very similar to it, but I like the idea that it's very flexible and it can grow with you. So as you get larger and larger and you gain more areas or gain more fixtures or shelves or so on, you can always add on to this system. And because of the nature of Excel, it's very easy to sort your inventory list, if that is how you're keeping track of your eBay inventory. It's easy to sort it and find items very quickly. There's between having the listing identification and the inventory tag and even the listing ID, there's several different ways that I am basically identifying an item. And yeah, I can make a mistake in one area and type something in wrong, but I'd have to make several mistakes to completely lose an item. So it's not very likely, which is what I love about this system and how it's evolved over time. So not too long of a video today. I hope that explains how you can set up an inventory system for eBay that's really, really simple. You can it can evolve and grow with you, and it can help you out when you cannot find an item that you've sold, even when it's not where it's supposed to be. So if you have any more questions about that, please leave them in the comments down below. Also, if you like this video, I really appreciate if you hit the like button. It just takes a second. And consider subscribing. The subscribe button is here as well. That way you get the next video that I put out without having to wait, and you always get your Prof sales fix as quick as you can get it. So, well, anyway, I hope this was helpful, and this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.